What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. The Mandalorian is back. It's another Friday, which means I'm here for another weekly review slash recap. This is for Season 2, Episode 2, aka Chapter 10, The Passenger. Now, this episode, we found out at the very end, was directed by Peyton Reed, and this is going to be filled with spoilers, by the way, so if you have not seen the episode, definitely watch it and then come back and hear my quick thoughts slash recap. Right off the bat, I enjoyed this episode. I think that it was a fun time, but I don't think it was anything to write home about. It reminds me of a lot of the Season 1 episodes that were really entertaining, but they didn't bring too much to the table. But I will say that it's more clear after this episode that The Mandalorian is essentially very similar to the Clone Wars series, as a lot of those arcs would go 3 or 4 episodes long, and things would carry over into the next episode. Things would happen, and then it would be like, okay, this is a fun little event that happened, and then in the next one we'll see more, and then eventually there will be a payoff to that arc. And I think that's exactly what is set up here in this season, as the episode opens essentially with the Mandalorian and the child on a speeder, and he's driving through Tatooine immediately after the events of the first episode of Season 2. And then all of a sudden there's a tripwire that's triggered, and then these 3 characters come out and they try and steal the child. They obviously want him because he's worth a lot of money. The Mandalorian ends up taking 2 of them out, and then there's one character left who has a knife to Baby Yoda's neck, and he says, look, there's a lot of valuable wreckage here. Take whatever you want. Just don't leave a mark on the child, or I'll be able to find you wherever you are. So he gives this character his jetpack, and then he gets the child back, and then of course he controls the jetpack, gets it back, and then it flashes on screen, The Mandalorian, Chapter 10, The Passenger. And then from there, he actually goes to Mos Eisley, and we see him in the same cantina from A New Hope right there, of course. I think they're sitting in the same exact booth that Han blows Greedo away in, but anyway, it was a nice little piece of fan service in my opinion. He actually sees Pelimoto there again, the same lady who is from the 5th episode of Season 1, and of course Episode 1 of Season 2, who has a really good relationship with the child, and she says there's a contact who could help you find Mandalorians, because that seems to be Mando's goal in this season so far, is to find the Mandalorian Creed, find the Mandalorians who left Navarro. So like, that seems to be his mission. They go to the hangar and they meet up, and she says the only catch is they want passage to the system, and it has to be sub-light, aka you can't use any hyperdrive, which is very dangerous because, like he says, pirates and smugglers could try and break into your ship. And he agrees to the deal. The character is like a toad or frog, and I don't know the name exactly, so forgive me, I don't know it off the top of my head. I don't even know if they say the character's name, but it's the last of her kind, and she needs to meet up with her husband so that they can have the spawn, because she's carrying the eggs that she has, and they're the last of her kind. So from there, they get on the ship, the Razor Crest, smooth sailing, and then Mando says, I'm going to take a nap. So he goes to sleep, and then he's waken up by a noise, and it turns out 2 X-Wings are on each side of the ship. They're asking for a beacon / signal, and he doesn't have it, so he hits it. He goes on the run. He goes onto a planet that's like very icy. It kind of reminded me of Hoth, but not really in a sense. There was a cool little action scene there, a little chase, and then he ends up kind of crashing his ship in the ice, and it sinks through the ice, so it's underground, out of commission. The characters, they think they're going to freeze because it's really cold down there. The ship is very damaged. Mando's fixing his ship, and he keeps catching the child eating these eggs, which is kind of like, oh man, what are you doing? But also, it made for some nice comedic bits throughout. This frog character leaves, and while Mando's repairing his ship, Baby Yoda kind of makes some noises, and you see footsteps, and he uses his little vision thing through his helmet to track down this character, and the character is like in a very warm pool warming up the eggs because it's freezing, and she's just trying to keep them all alive. And earlier, she actually communicates through the droid from the 6th episode of Season 1, so she's using it as like a translator, saying, this can't wait, like I need to get my eggs home to my planet and continue my line, my family. So basically, Mando finds this character, and then of course the child's up to some trouble, being a little mischievous this time, as the child goes and sees these eggs on the ground and actually starts to like eat one of them, and it turns out it's a spider, and then all the other spiders start coming out, and there's a massive spider. It was like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter with all these spiders chasing after them. This one in particular was massive, and then of course a lot of them get onto the ship. They're even getting into the cockpit area, and Mando's shooting as many as he can, and then the frog character actually pulls out a gun and kills one that was attacking the child, which is a cool little moment, kind of gained the trust of the Mandalorian in that moment, in my opinion. And then the huge spider comes back just as the ship is about to take off again, and then you see gunning down, and I was like, is this Boba Fett? Who is this? But there was just some gunning down, and then Mando goes outside, and it's actually the 2 X-Wing pilots taking care of business, and they say, yes, you're wanted for crimes, especially stealing certain prisoner X, something like that, which is the child. However, we checked your record, and it shows that you helped us capture 3 characters, 3 bounty hunters or whatever, and that's referring to the characters from the 6th episode of season 1. It's kind of a little nice bit they have where they basically just say, how about you just fix that transmitter and then we won't blow you out of the sky next time. The Mandalorian ship is fixed, he takes off with everybody, and then he decides to get some shut-eye. Right before we see the ship keep going into space and it cuts to the credits, we see the child sneak another one of the eggs into his mouth, and we get a nice little comedic bit to end the episode, and then it says directed by Peyton Reed. So that's my quick recap of the episode. What are my thoughts? Like I said, I did enjoy this episode. It had a lot of great comedy. I like Peyton Reed's style, especially in the Ant-Man movie, so seeing that translate to The Mandalorian really worked for me, and overall, I had a fun time with it. It's not my favorite episode by far. It's pretty middle of the road for Mandalorian episodes. I think the action is promising, and especially like the sequence where he's going through the canyon on the planet and the X-Wings are chasing after him, like that is very promising. I think we're going to get some awesome space battles later in the show. Pretty middle of the road Mandalorian episode. Didn't hate it by any means. I haven't hated a single episode of the show, but I still think it's better than like a handful of the first season 1 episodes. That's going to do it, I think, for my quick little recap / review of season 2, episode 2, The Passenger. Definitely hit the like button. Comment your thoughts on the episode down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle on it? Because I think this could be a divisive episode. I don't know. I saw on IMDb it has a 9.8, but I know that people go on there early and just review it as high as they can. So I'm excited to see where the IMDb rating settles for this episode and just to see what everyone in the community thinks of it. So definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm going to be doing these Mandalorian videos every week. I'm trying something new. It's actually 3:50 a.m. where I am. So I went to sleep early, woke up to watch it to get out this review. So let me know what you guys think definitely of the episode. This is a show that I love and I'm excited to keep talking about. So yeah, stay tuned for future live streams, collabs, Blu-ray hunts, content, all that good stuff, especially these Mandalorian episodes. They're not going anywhere. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.